Joined by Joseph Ochieno, an African affairs commentator, joining us live from Uganda's capital, Kampala. Thank you so much for joining us. With the return of M23, is there a way out that you can see for the Democratic Republic of Congo?
If I get you right, I am not quite sure whether there is any other way except for a peaceful settlement in DR Congo. And I must say that at this material time, I'm not quite sure whether there is any better peace envoy than former Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta, in the sense that he's generally a fairly respected a former and elder statesman now of the region, somebody who saw within Kenya itself an ability to have a conversation with the opponent and to shake hands and to embrace and to talk peace. And he left Kenya, by and large, in a very good way, particularly. So in DR Congo, absolutely is the right person. But also, number two, it's in his interest, because we know he's somebody who's generally a businessman, and like everybody else, we all want and know that peace and stability and businesses will thrive, where there is a harmony. So I think it's absolutely in the interest of the Congolese people that Mr. Kenyatta's efforts is given a chance. I know he's met both leaders, and whatever happens on the ground as far as fighting is concerned, that maybe other than the guns, we should be able to have slightly much more talks. He seems to have done it rather well by beginning to engage religious leaders, community leaders, civil society leaders, and in my opinion, it should include people from across the political divide, including people with grievances far away from the region where the conflicts at the moment. It's extremely unfortunate that we have, of the many fighting forces, we are talking about one, that is M23. And why M23? Perhaps it's simply because they're the bad guys who have been spoiled because they've got a particular nation state allegedly supporting them. We know who that country is at the moment. Well,
Joseph, I want to talk a little bit about some of the efforts that have been there to end this conflict. There have been several bilateral and multilateral efforts to end the conflict in the DRC. However, this is the first time that we're seeing this kind of engagement by the East African community regarding peace efforts. Why now, Joseph? This conflict has been raging for years. What is it at stake at the moment?
Because, quite as I said earlier, M23 seems to have re-emerged. Ironically, they had been settled in Uganda in a refugee camp. And one of the questions that need to be asked, and I hope Mr. Kenyatta is able to ask Mr. Museveni boldly, how did M23 guys leave Uganda, where they were actually supposed to be protected in a refugee camp, and return to Congo to cause the kind of mayhem that they're causing at the moment? But number two, Uganda's own interest is there, because Uganda is involved in some kind of mini infrastructure project. We know it's a bit of business. It may be personal, it may be nation state, but also Rwanda is involved right now, because Rwanda is almost certainly, allegedly, pushing on the M23 side. So basically, Uganda and Rwanda have their own conflicts outside Congo, but they seem to, unfortunately, have taken it to Congo. The only unfortunate thing is that the people involved there are mainly women and children, as you rightly talked about in your own report there, that nearly 200,000 people are displaced. So I think it's in the massive interest of the people of Congo, and indeed the people in this region, that this effort should succeed. But beyond that, DR Congo right now is a member of the East African community. It's ironical, isn't it, that member states of one community organization are fighting amongst themselves. That is why I hope that a former leader of the member state organization, meaning Mr. Kenyatta, is able to bring all of them together and have a situation in which there's a possibility of a settlement this material time. I know it's in the interest of Congo to have this matter resolved, because it has been the case for a long time. It's in the interest of Uganda because, as I said, partly business, partly politics for them to be able to do so. But I think particularly because now there is this agreement that, and thanks to the Kenyan guys that they've taken there, some guys with boots on the ground, that maybe in this case the guys who are backing M23 are going to realize and recognize and come to terms with the reality that actually the rest of the region is actually much serious. Thankfully, people like Angola with massive interest and massive experiences in that region are also being engaging themselves. Maybe at this time there will be a compulsion for people to go round table, because my own considered view is that long term in Congo, long term in this region, and then long term on the African continent, we need to put guns away. and begin to find a way in which we're able to have GNATs.
Yes, and I think you've already spoken a little bit about this, but I'd like you to elaborate a bit more. There are concerns that rising tensions between Rwanda and the DRC could jeopardize prospects for peace building in the Great Lakes region, which is already facing multidimensional challenges. Do you share the same concerns, Joseph?
Could you repeat that question, please? Sorry.
There are concerns that the rising tensions between Rwanda and the DRC could jeopardize prospects for peace building in the Great Lakes region, which is already facing multidimensional challenges, so many things happening there. Do you share the same views?
I think I'd hinted much earlier that the tension is apparent, the tension is real. The tension includes my own native Uganda, which has got double interest in that particular region. But there is no way at this material time, on the basis of what Mr. Kenyatta and others are doing in the region today, that maybe it will not be checked. So I'm rather optimistic that it will be in the interest of Rwanda to see that actually the rest of the region is serious about this, and the international community is watching. In DR Congo, it's absolutely in their own interest to stabilize the nation state. And to be fair to Congo, Congo has actually been taunted and haunted since independence by neighbors, normally coming into plunder, by neighbors who are actually playing little boys, but they actually come and become little bullies and sorting out their own interests in the territorial, in the territory of Congo, where Congo is actually a sovereign nation. Very quick point, actually. Rwanda suggests that in Congo there are people who committed genocide in Rwanda. By and large, that is absolutely true. It's absolutely in the interest of Rwanda that while Rwanda compels the Congolese to resolve the matter, including the M23 in Congo, Rwanda also needs to review its own position on how it looks at the Rwandese people, Rwandese citizens who are refugees in Congo, having these matters resolved. Perhaps a post this conflict situation is one in which we make sure that there are no Rwandese in Congo or in Uganda, no Ugandans in Congo or in Kenya who are conflicting with their nation states, because we're going to be able to say that, look, across East Africa, all political conflicts across the region are going to be resolved peacefully and democratically, and no country should actually play double standards on this occasion. Maybe that might be a very good start for the Rwandese on this occasion.